let's get right into it. At the very center of this whole AI explosion, you've got one of the most polarizing figures in tech today, Sam Altman. And depending on who you talk to, he's either the visionary leading us into a golden new age or, well, a deeply manipulative operator.
People have really strong opinions about Altman. I mean, there's almost no middle ground. If you're on board with his vision for the future, he is the best person you could possibly have in your corner. He's this incredible storyteller who can rally billions of dollars and the smartest people to make that future a reality. But if you're not on board with that vision, you start to feel like you're being conned into supporting something you're fundamentally against.
So that's the big question, right? Which one is it? The thing is, the answer is super complicated. And to really get it, you have to look past the man himself and focus on the story he's selling. A story that revolves around a concept that's as powerful as it is, well, fuzzy.
And that story, that grand vision, is the quest for artificial general intelligence, or AGI. It's this almost mythical goal that fuels the entire AI industry. But what is AGI really? Turns out that totally depends on who Sam Altman is talking to.
So when he's talking to policymakers, the US Congress, listen to the story he tells. AGI is framed as this world-saving humanitarian mission. It's the ultimate public good. How could you possibly regulate or slow something like that down?
But then, get him in the boardroom, striking that massive deal with Microsoft, and the definition, it just flips. Suddenly, AGI isn't about curing disease anymore. It's a financial machine. It's a system defined purely by its ability to generate absolutely gigantic profits.
And finally, when he's talking to us, the consumers, it's something else entirely. It's just a super helpful digital assistant. You see what's happening, right? These aren't just different sides of the same coin. They are completely different, incoherent ideas. AGI becomes this shape-shifting marketing term, molded to fit whatever audience needs to be won over.
And here's the thing. This ambiguity, this vagueness, it isn't new. It's basically baked into the DNA of the field. When the term artificial intelligence was first dreamed up back in 1956, it was tied to human intelligence, a concept we still don't have a scientific consensus on. The whole field was built on this shaky foundation with no clear goalposts, which is exactly why AGI can be twisted and turned so easily today.
So, here's the key takeaway. AGI isn't just some tech benchmark. It's a narrative device. It's a powerful myth that's being used to justify a whole new kind of empire building. This brings us to the work of journalist Karen Hao. She's interviewed over 250 people in the AI world. And what she's found is that these companies, they operate less like your typical business and a lot more like the great empires of the past. And they follow a very specific playbook.
And that playbook really rests on four main pillars: grabbing resources, exploiting labor, controlling knowledge, and then wrapping it all up in a powerful good versus evil story. Let's break that down.
First up, resource grabbing. This means laying claim to things that belong to all of us, our collective data, artists' life's work, and public resources like water and electricity for these gigantic data centers. And they do it often without our permission or any compensation, frequently at the expense of already vulnerable communities. Second, you've got the human cost. The AI industry is quietly creating this massive new global workforce of data annotators, basically low-paid digital pieceworkers, and professionals who've been laid off from their careers often end up in these jobs, training the very same AI models that are going to cause even more layoffs. It's effectively breaking the career ladder for good. And listen, this isn't some abstract trend happening far away. It's affecting highly skilled people. As Karen Hao discovered, this hidden workforce includes people like award-winning directors in Hollywood who are secretly doing this kind of digital piecework just to put food on the table.
And right at the heart of this playbook, you'll find Sam Altman himself. His actions often serve as a perfect blueprint for this empire-building strategy. A really great example is how he maneuvered his way into the top job at OpenAI in the first place.
So get this. Back in the early days, when OpenAI was making the jump to a for-profit company, the top scientists actually wanted Elon Musk as CEO. But Altman, he goes privately to his friend, the CTO Greg Brockman, and paints this picture of Musk as erratic and dangerous. Brockman buys it, he convinces the other key guy, and they flip their vote to Altman. Musk, feeling completely betrayed, just walks away. It was a masterclass in strategic maneuvering.
Now, that kind of control doesn't just stay inside the company walls. It extends out to the public story. And that brings us to the third pillar, controlling what we all know. AI companies use access like a weapon, a carrot they dangle in front of journalists. They reward the ones who give them glowing coverage, and totally freeze out anyone who dares to ask tough questions.
But it goes even deeper than that. They bankroll most of the AI researchers out there, which lets them set the entire academic agenda. They censor research that might show harms, they fire brilliant internal critics who speak up, and they've even subpoenaed watchdog groups in what really looks like an intimidation campaign. It creates this massive echo chamber where their story is pretty much the only one you hear.
But here's the thing. This whole imperial dominance, it's not going unchallenged. There's a rebellion taking shape on a whole bunch of different fronts, and it's powered by a growing skepticism of the industry's grand promises.
And that brings us to the final pillar, the way they sell this whole project to us. It's the good versus evil myth. These empires justify all the resource grabbing and their anti-democratic moves by saying it's a necessary race against a bad empire, usually China. They paint themselves as the benevolent saviors, which makes their quest for total control seem not just okay, but absolutely essential.
But here's the catch. The public isn't totally buying in. A whopping 80% of Americans believe the AI industry needs to be regulated. That shows this huge gap between the industry's story of being our only protectors and what the public actually wants, which is democratic oversight.
And that skepticism is turning into real action. Artists are suing over having their work stolen. Communities are physically blocking the construction of new data centers. And a whole movement of researchers is building what they call bicycle AIs, small, efficient models designed for specific good things, like discovering new drugs. It proves there's another way to innovate without trying to conquer the world.
And that leaves us with this one big final thought. These empires, they need our data. They need our public resources, our energy, and our buy-in to keep growing. Their whole plan depends on us just flawlessly adopting everything they build. So the question is, what happens if people, artists, communities, you, me, decide not to give it to them so flawlessly?